Hi everyone, it's Jenny with Joey and Jenny's Little Yellow House, and you can find us on YouTube at Joey143Jenny. Hope that you'll subscribe and share the videos. So today what I'm going to do is just do a quick walkthrough and update with you on this, what is this, a Peacock journal, and just show you where I'm at with it. So as you know, Joey had complete and total hip replacement on Wednesday. Didn't get home until Thursday afternoon, so I haven't had a lot of time to really spend on this, of course. But I have used this kind of as a respite. So when Joey's resting, or able to sit and watch a little TV, I've come in and snuck a little time with this journal. So so I didn't put everything on a video just simply because it was in little spurts and because I was experimenting. I really didn't know what I was going to do or how to work it. So this beautiful fabric is silk, and it looks very, very old. I bought at a garage sale. It was a church sale. They had 2 yards of it for $3. I couldn't resist it. I've never used it before, but I thought this was the perfect journal for it. It's absolutely buttery. It is so amazing. And the salvage just said Hong Kong. It didn't say anything else. So, but anyways, it's absolutely beautiful. I've never worked with this kind of fabric before. So that's another reason why it was a little bit of a trial and error. So basically what I did, I had shown you before that I used a Queen Anne chocolate covered cherry box to make the cover. And then what I did was I put a little thin batting and then I laid this over it. Then, so here's the inside. What I did was I flipped it over on the side and I used, if you haven't ever used these, they're so great for quilting for sure, but they're really great for detailed clipping with journals. Now I do use the big bow clips or the big, I don't know what they are, office clips when I normally like bind a journal, but these are so great. So like here, when I wanted to get that miter, I just used one of these to help hold it. And so what I did was I sewed around it and did a double sewing around. You can see here that I had to restart my thread. It was kind of goofy because I looked ahead of time to make sure I had enough bobbin, but at this point the bobbin split, and so I had to rethread the bobbin and start again. But I think that'll be okay. I don't think it'll, I think this is so gorgeous it'll draw away from that a little bit. Maybe I'll put something embellishing there or something. So then once I did that, you may remember that I made this journal a little bit bigger than a normal journal would be. Normally it would be 9 by 6, and this one, I believe, let's see, measured a little over 10 and by about 13. So, which was great in the sense of being able to put some of the bigger things in here, but I hadn't thought through that like a full page of paper wouldn't fit across, like to do the inside. So when I got to the inside, after I had glued down the back, this part, I flipped it over, glued it down. Wish I would have left a little more than I did. And then I ended up having to take another piece and going over the spine because this paper just was not going to be long enough to go all the way across. Probably fabric would have looked really great in here. I just didn't have anything special enough, and I thought this paper looked really fun. And then I did find a way to use that paper doily that I showed you. Just made a pocket as an example. This is that hinge. We'll use it somewhere else, but as an example, you could slide something in there. So I'll make something for that. So another thing that I did use, what I used to get the fabric on here nicely is I first sewed the fabric to the quilting, what did I call it? Oh, you know what am I trying to say? Batting. So I first sewed it to the batting, that's one line. And then what I did was I then sewed it to the actual book. But to keep it laying flat, instead of using like one of my other tacky glues, I thought I'm going to try the rubber cement. Now, if you haven't ever used rubber cement, it's an interesting glue. There's a couple of things about it. One, it's going to take your polish off. So I left my polish like this just to show you. It's going to take your polish off if you get it on there. Secondly, it comes with a metal brush. So I'll just show you what it looks like. So if you haven't ever used it before. So it comes, this brush is metal. And the holder is metal. So I stir it, kind of spiral it up to get some of that off. And but the great thing is it gives a very nice and even, you can paint it on just nice and even. And then I used this and made all my fabric nice and taut, and it doesn't bubble up your fabric. It's not wet like a wet glue where it would bubble. But another thing I do want to tell you is it does have a very strong vapor. So you'll want to make sure that you have lots of ventilation if you're susceptible to maybe headaches due to, vapors or odors or something. This may affect you. I rarely use this. I first came across it, my dad, years and years ago. Gosh, I was trying to think based on my age, and it was at least 50 years ago. My dad owned a what would you call it? A business printing company, and it was kind of an in-house type of thing. And so he had like a small printing press in the basement, and basically the press only had like letters and lines and things. So he would do like business cards and numbers, business cards and stationery and things like that. And if he wanted to make a tablet or bind things together, he would use this rubber cement to do that. And so that's how I first came about knowing about the rubber cement. The thing about rubber cement is you coat both things that you're wanting to adhere together. So in this instance, I coated the candy box with a coating of this, and I coated the fabric with a coating of this. And it's those two that cause a tack when they stick. And it really does make a very nice, like I did it here, you can't see any bubbles or anything. It's very nice. So the reason I don't use this all the time is because, gosh, it really does have an odor. It's just that airplane glue odor. So if you can handle that for a little bit, this is great, but I definitely would not use this all the time. And so then I just did a 3 pamphlet stitch on the spine. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I love this beautiful emery thread, what am I trying to say? Embroidery thread. I do have this sequin. I don't know if that's appropriate for a spine. It just seems like it would be yucky, kind of clunky. So we might use that on a pocket or something. And we'll see. We'll see what we'll do here. So another thing is typically I don't cover my journal completely until it's finished. I know that seems weird, but typically what I do is once it's finished, I'll open it up like this and then I'll cover it nicely. But for this one, that was not something that I could do. So what I have here, and I'm going to try this to protect it, is I have this press and seal. And what I'm going to do is, hope that wasn't right in your ear, is I'm going to open it all the way up. I'm going to put it over like this, just to protect it while I'm finishing up the journal, because it's, you know, I'll be gluing and things like that. And now if this was cotton, it'd be a little bit different, because cotton I could probably use my baby wipe and, you know, clean it up. But because this is this incredible silk, I might have called it satin, but it's silk. Because it's this incredible silk, I just don't want to risk it. So I'm just using this, and it's going to work just fine doing that. I may need to adjust it periodically as I, you know, work on this journal. And this journal is definitely going to have a closure because it's already chubbed, and because of that really thick cardboard. It was a thin cardboard, but after I added, you know, a layer of batting, a layer of fabric, a layer of scrapbook paper, and then I added those pockets, plus all of the pages in the signature. You know, she wants to do this. She wants to open up. So, okay, so let's look at some of the pages. So that's going to work fine. So if you ever just need to protect, you know, you can just use that to protect it while you're working on it. And it would work fine, even if it's paper or cotton, you know, it would work just fine. If you've already done the cover and you want to protect it, because, you know, I mean, we can always make up for mistakes by adding a doily here or something there. But, you know, if you've got it the way you want it, you may want to use that. All right. So what I did was I took a bunch of different threads that I thought were peacock colors. One of the favorites was the pink that I did here on this book. I got that at a thrift store when Kathy and I were when I went to visit Kathy in California. 50 cents for a full spool of silk thread. And this thread is just as buttery as this silk cover. It is so amazing. I think I bought like 4 or 5. I've never worked with silk thread before. Okay, so the unique thing about this journal, based on other journals that I've used or made, is that I've done 2 different sizes together. So I think it's fine. If I think that it looks a little clunky, I might put like maybe ribbon or ruffle or something up here to make them kind of the same height. But opening it up, this was my first page. I thought it was sweet, funny anyways. And then we come to this guy. Always want to think of it as a gal bird because it's just so beautiful, but we know that the one that has that beautiful spread is actually the male. Those were both from two different digital kits. And of course, if you go back to look at the ones when I started to put the papers together, you'll see which ones these came from, the Etsy stores I bought these from. And then here's some more beautiful. This was a coloring page that I put in. I just put this page in because I thought the colors kind of went. It's a little goofy to put in here, but I thought the colors went well. And then this is the coffee dye that I did with doily, kind of a placemat. So more of digitals. This is a grunge digital, but they had this beautiful blue, so I put that in there. So just a quick flip through before I start to decorate. We'll probably decorate mostly together. So what I did here is I did go ahead and sew together, you know, these pages that were white on the other side, just because I didn't want to have to do a lot of decorating on those pages or stencil on those pages primarily. So on a couple of pages, what I did is I left this side open and I put a little thumb notch here, and so we'll use that as a pocket. So we put in that sewing one that we talked about before. This is the one that I chose to be the centerpiece, the center page. I thought that looked really cute. This is the pretty embroidery thread that I decided to use. And I do have some really pretty charms and things to put down here. So I left these fairly long so that I could do that. So we'll do that probably towards the very end. Okay, and now this is the back side. So one thing about the back side is we tend to fold our papers so that we see them as we flip through here. We see the pretty side, which means that the back side, so you see pretty, 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 hit the middle, and then you see back side of everything. So it's kind of something to kind of think through, to fold papers differently, so that you also have, you know, pretty sides when you flip through here. You just have to fold it just the opposite so that when you're flipping through, you still have some pretty sides. Now, if you did like this paper, like these two, where I sewed the two together, or you print on both sides, then that also helps. I did not print on both sides. I'm using so many different digitals. I just printed them and then put them together as I saw that I wanted to. But man, don't they just work well together? So pretty. So pretty. Okay, and then I did the same thing on another 2 pages that I put together, and I thumb hold on the opposite side, so we could have, you know, we could have one on that side too. Okay, there you go. And then again, I made this little slide in. It's not a true pocket because it's more of a tuck. It's not a true pocket just because it doesn't come out very far, you know, for you to keep things in. So I've been working on that. And also, so I'll set that aside for a second because it pops open. I've been making a few fabric flips. So I took this to the hospital to work on. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just working on some little, I don't know, peacock looking things. We'll see once I get it done. I just have been picking this up here and there when I get a chance to sit down. What I did was I couched the same thread that's in it that I closed this book, or that I bound this book with. I just couched it on some satin. And then I'm just going back and putting some black, just to kind of emulate feathers through here. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. I don't know. And then this one, I just thought, okay, while I was doing this journal, and I don't know if you can see here. Let me get this open. I don't know if you can see here, but as I sewed those all together, I used different color threads, like I said, that I thought looked kind of peacock looking, feather looking. And so then I just cut them and left them a little long here. But while I had each of those colors in the machine, I just took some fabric and just did some squigglies down. Again, I left the tails to be little feathers at the end. So I think that one's okay too. I mean, I'm not a big artist of any sort, but I think it's fun texturally and in the colors. And then I have a lot of this left, but I do have a few scraps left that I might put that in like that. So that's basically what I've been working on. Joey is resting right now. Today has been a big day. It's his first day of the home therapy. So we have home health care come in and help him through his physical therapy. And so today was a really good day. He's a lot clearer. I think a lot of the anesthetics out of his system. So he's a lot clearer, a lot peppier. But also with that in mind, that therapy, I think, kind of kicked his tail a little bit. So he's resting and, but in really good spirits. So I'm really happy about that. I think that that anesthetic and the initial pain medicine really does a number on your psyche and just the way you feel, and then once all of that starts to wear off, then you actually have that full pain plus you're exercising, so it can be quite the process. So we'll see how it goes, but right now we appreciate your thoughts and prayers, and he's coming along really, really well, and his appetite is coming back, so that's good to get some strength and the protein to help him heal. All right, everyone. Thank you for all the well wishes for him. We really appreciate that. Again, thank you for watching the video. I hope you'll subscribe and share our videos. We really appreciate it. And you know, still, if you're in the area, come on by. We're welcome at our little yellow house. And I know Joey would love to see you too. And right now it's just the two of us until either a nurse or his physical therapy tech comes. So we welcome visitors. Okay. Anyways, everybody, have a great day. I hope the rest of your weekend is really great. Thank you.